ready? What am I doing? Are you going to kick it?
Bridget James came to the Salt Lake Valley in 1988. As an avid runner, respiratory problems during her first winter led to visit after visit to see the doctor. It was the inversion season, and poor air quality, she believes, led to her poor health. Yet she never anticipated the polluted air could also harm the health of her little boy.
He went through a long period of banging his head on the ground, the hard ground. It was very scary, and we did everything to try and stop him.
Park wasn't reaching the typical milestones that parents expect during a child's life. His attempts to communicate would result in absolute frustration.
He didn't do it out of, like a fit or anything. It was always out of a frustration, like he couldn't communicate, so he'd get upset.
Park's doctor recommended he be tested for autism.
Rates of autism are increased amongst the families of women who, during their pregnancy, are exposed to more air pollution.
The Archives of General Psychiatry published a study out of USC and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which found that exposure to traffic-related air pollution during pregnancy and during the first year of life resulted in twice the risk of autism. Studies like this are closely followed by medical doctor David Mensch. He is head of a group called Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment.
If you look across the valley on a day when there's notable pollution, if you think of that physiologically as the community's being exposed to secondhand cigarette smoke, that's pretty much what it is. That's how it behaves.
He cites the research from study after study documenting the poor effects pollution has on the human body.
And just like an engine on your car, if you pour a little bit of sand in your gas tank over time, that engine isn't going to work very well. Same is true of the cells of your body.
And Utah has a problem with pollution. You can see it in the numbers just released from the American Lung Association. It ranked cities in the Cache Valley, Salt Lake Valley, and Utah Valley among the 13 cities with the worst air in the nation. State air quality experts measure the chemicals and the particulates in the air every minute of every hour of every day. You can see how clean the air is on the surface of these little filters. They each show the particulates collected in the air over a 24-hour period. A clear day versus a dirty day.
We are breathing that.
The valleys along the Wasatch have just the right terrain to form an inversion. High mountains create a wall along the valley. When the air is stagnant and the ground is cold, it's as though a cling film is placed on the top of the valley bowl. All the emissions from our cars and local businesses rising in the air just stay there. It becomes a dirty, dangerous soup. Scientists can analyze the ingredients of this soup very efficiently, and one of their biggest concerns is over particulates called PM 2.5s.
It isn't just through the lungs that you can get exposure to these particles. And one of the reasons why the brain is so vulnerable is because it has an accessory pathway of exposure, and that is the particles can get lodged up against the lining of your nose, and then they attach themselves to the nerves in your nose, which then go back to the brain.
These minute particles cause inflammation. Our lungs, bloodstream, and brain are vulnerable, and the particulates can cause or worsen life-threatening conditions.
So it causes lung disease, it causes heart disease, it causes cancer, it causes strokes.
Hypertension, low birth weight, premature birth, a smaller head size in newborns, diabetes, lupus, obesity, arthritis, depression, and an increase in suicide rates. There's no telling whether pollution was to blame for Park's strange behavior when he was 2. But as soon as she scheduled the appointment for Park's autism test, Bridget cleaned up his surroundings, and they all began a heavy metal detox diet for 30 days. Slowly, the outbursts of frustration subsided. Park was making eye contact and communicating again. So who are the real culprits putting all these toxins in the air? There will always be finger pointing, but much of it comes down to you and me. But there are bigger polluters that some say should be held accountable. We'll take a closer look at that next time.